Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. In this video, again, I am going to show you guys how Facebook is a social media platform run by religious fanatics, run by those within the ex-CIA, ex-NSA, technical operators, I should say, and within Facebook, they basically censor people for speaking the truth. Now, I just got this notification, right? Facebook, there you go here. Let's see. Let's go back here. Facebook, remove your content, right? It looks like you try to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way. Again, how did I do that in a misleading way? But that's not what is being done here. They want to do this so they can shut my account down, or at least suspend my account to where I cannot post, right? So this right here is an attack, but they try to do it in such a way that what they really want to censor, truly want to censor, not only this, but also these posts, right? Posts, this is the truth. Again, this is a black woman, all right, Queen of Kemet, 18th dynasty, and you find this in a museum in Germany. Okay, which clearly shows you that ancient Egyptians, right, or ancient Kemetics were black people. But I want you to understand how racist Arabs and racist whites who say, "Oh, look at these black people," they couldn't possibly build this, even though the evidence is right in front of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to take their culture, ancient culture, we're going to co-opt it, we're going to whitewash and Arab wash it, and we're going to make money off of it. Okay? Because when you look at white people today, or Arab people today, who claim that the ancient Egyptians were white and white Arabs, they don't practice any of the ancient Egyptian cultural practices. But you can go all throughout Africa, okay, and you will find nations of people who carry on those same cultural practices. You guys hear the sirens in the background? Yeah. Okay. So again, they will censor anybody who speaks the truth. Particularly if you're a black person and you know your history, they will engage in such tactics and behavior. Also, posts like this that I post, again, this is something that I shared, but it says, "A child dressed as a chicken is not a chicken. A man dressed as a woman is not a woman." And that's absolutely correct. Okay? And this is not my opinion. This is biological fact, scientific fact, right? And again, how they use psychology to manipulate people, to deceive people, to condition people's mind to deceive themselves and to lie to themselves about their reality and the truth. Okay, so let me keep going. They hate it when I post beautiful, heavily melanated queens or black women, all right? Queens, goddesses, whatever you want to call them. All right? They don't like that. Whenever I post images, it's okay if I post a light-skinned Keisha, somewhat mixed race person. But when it comes to me posting pictures of particularly black couples that are heavily melanated, black family, period, they don't like that. But they can't outright remove my posts about those things, because it will clearly show that they are being singled out, right? And again, it's not just me. There are many people on Facebook who speak the truth are singled out, whether they're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Arabs, what have you. All right, this is an attack on the truth. Okay? Again, when I talk about posting pictures like this, NBA player with a black wife, right? And again, she's heavily melanated, beautiful, with black children. They don't like that. Okay? So, now here's the thing. What they truly don't want me to post is information like this. Okay? And I'm going to do a video on this after this. So, just giving you guys an idea of what it is that they do in order to try to silence me. Okay? And of course, they don't like Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Right? But he was one of our Christ. Okay? A spiritual truth warrior, as he calls himself. Okay? A defender of black people. Right? He's a beloved ancestor. And no one is going to silence me or make me not see him as such. One of our Christ. Okay? And then, like I said, stuff like this, they're basically upset because, again, speaking the truth. And here you have a white man who was handcuffed, brutalized by these predator cops. And I've said this well over a decade ago. I said eventually, because white people sat back and remained silent about these racist cops abusing black people, that eventually what they are creating in the mindset of these cops is an even more power dynamics and even more narcissists at the higher scale. So now it's not just about your color of your skin now. Now it's about power. Now it's about their authority over you. So you can be white, whatever color you are. If you don't do what they say, even if they're violating your rights, they will brutalize you. Okay? Because now they're not seeing color. What they're seeing now is their authority. And they believe that because they have the authority over you, that they can brutalize you and get away with it. And guess what? Most of them do get away with it. Okay? If you watch this video, you'll see what the police department said, that the police were justified in doing what they did to this man. And this man was in handcuffs. Okay? He was in handcuffs. Right? It wasn't his beating wasn't as bad as Rodney King. But imagine they're doing this to white men now. Okay? All right, and again, not a lot of white men, not a lot. Okay, let's not get it twisted, right? But what I want to get to is, where are we at here? Is this. Posts like this. Okay? Posts like this, they don't want me to post because they know that the majority of people in America have no idea, no clue of what the government has been doing for the past 60 years. All right? For the past 6 decades or 50 years. Okay? The creation of mind control technology and weapons to control our minds or to create a new personality within us, one that is more compliant obedience to a state that's abusive, to a state that is unjustly treating its people, its citizens, criminally. They're trying to make us docile so that we won't protest police brutality anymore. And they do it in such a way that, and because it's done in the shadows without you even realize what's going on, that you don't see the forces behind these attacks, right? What is called cognitive warfare. And particularly with the use of social media now, which is a powerful tool to create a psychosis within the society, right? And where now the government or the elites can now, using media, can make you believe whatever they want you to believe, right? So even if you had a little bit of critical thinking, right, they'll be able to erase that, take that from your mind, because you would believe whatever they want you to believe. Okay, let me tell you, I've been getting a lot of these calls, and I usually get them in the beginning of the month, these spam calls. There's always spam calls that I get in the beginning of the month. Again, this is a pattern, because they don't do it after a couple of days into the month. I don't get any more spam calls, but let it be in the beginning of the month, and I'll be bombarded with spam calls. Okay. So anyway, and again, you have this is another TI, and they always bring in God into this. God has nothing to do with this. Okay, your God don't exist. Your God is a fictional character. Go and read again. This is why, like I said, people don't read. We're just indoctrinated, and because we've been lied to. We as people, whether we're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Arabs, we have been lied to by those in power. Okay, so this is what they don't want me to post. Okay, things like this. All right, now this is from the National Defense Magazine, right? Weaponizing the brain, neuroscience advancement sparked debate. So the stuff that they show you on television is really old, old things that they have developed. It ain't the new stuff. The new stuff is way advanced. This is why they don't show it to you. This is why they'll deny that such weapons exist, right? But they can deny all they want, right? But they talk about China developing newer weapons or newer strike weapons. What, you think the U.S. is going to be so concerned about China developing newer weapons and newer strike weapons, and they have not been developing it themselves? This is why I say people don't think. So you have people on social media, yes, China's developing new weapons, but no one is talking about the U.S. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but the people who are talking about China developing newer strike weapons, particularly those who are just seeing these things in the news, your average person or your average person who may have an above average knowledge of these things, they're not talking about what the U.S. is doing, right? And because they're not talking about that, you got to say to yourself, they're waging cognitive warfare on us. They've been doing it. This is why we don't think about certain things. This is why they can tell us certain things and we become anti this and anti that, right? This is why they can manipulate us and become pro this and pro that. This is why you have men dressing as women and have an operation and saying that they're women and biologically born women are cis women, right? Or biologically born male or cis male, while they're hijacking the term that we use to describe each other as women and men, biologically born women and men. So whether you live in a liberal state and a conservative state, both political ideology wages cognitive warfare on those who identify as such. Okay? So you must understand that. You have to understand that. And you have to see past their BS. Right? Get educated. Learn about these things. All right? We cannot remain so ignorant to where we just accept anything without thinking about it. Look at the Supreme Court today. The conservative, right, extreme, right wing fringe have taken over the Supreme Court. And how do you think the conservative did it? While the Democrats playing pussy, talking about when they go low, we go high. No. You see what happened when they go low and we go high. Come on now. They're waging war on all of us, okay? The Democrats waging war on us too. Don't get it twisted. I might be a Democrat. I might be more of a liberal than a Democrat. But, you know, they also wage cognitive warfare on those who have the same political ideology, right? So don't think, remember, these are wealthy people, whether they're conservative or Democrats or liberal, right? And both elite classes who may have different political ideology, but they still have the same goal, which is to control most of the population and to further enrich themselves. All right. So, like I said, I just think we need a new political party, and one that's not controlled by corporate interests and the military-industrial complex. But that's very hard because we know that whenever a new political party arrives, they will hijack that political party, and particularly with the creation and development of neurological weapons and psychological weapons. You know, there's no stopping them from taking over whichever party, whichever organization, and particularly civil rights organization, because they don't want you, the citizens, right, engaging in any sort of anti-government protests or anti-government views. And that's not a democratic country. That is not a democracy. We have never lived in a democracy, though we call ourselves a democratic country and a democratic nation. All right. So again, Facebook needs to stop this BS. I know what it is that they're doing. Okay. And oh shoot, I almost forgot. So let me show you guys what they removed. Right. So let's go to the link. All right. Like I said, I do research. I don't just say things just to say things. Right. So when people talk about Elohim, you know, particularly if you're a Mormon, right? Because that's what they call God, Elohim. But Elohim means is a word that's plural, right? So means more than one. Right, but then, and again, this is giving some context, right? It says the name is commonly used for God in the Old Testament is the Hebrew word Elohim. But when you read these Christian Bibles, it's not Elohim, it's Jehovah or God. Right? It is also found in a singular form El. So the singular form of Elohim is El, whereas the plural form is Elohim, more than one. Okay? And Ella. Whenever we find the English word God used in the Old Testament, it is a translation of this Hebrew word Elohim, or one of its form. The exact meaning of Elohim is not known, though it seemed to contain the idea of strength and power. The word is used in the first verse of the Bible. In the beginning, God, Elohim, created the heavens and the earth. The noun Elohim is plural, but it is always used in a singular verb when it speaks of the true God. So how can you use a word that is plural and use it as if it is a singular verb when it's not? The singular is El, right? Plural is Elohim. But because they don't want people to think, right? And again, you know, I'm not religious, but like I said, I combat the ignorance of the religious fanatics, the religious indoctrinated. You know, because they don't even study. They don't even read the Bible. Okay, they don't study the Bible. They don't read the Bible. They just repeat what they hear on church on a Sunday, or they may go to Sunday school or what have you. But that's it. But they have never sat down and read the Bible from front to back. They have no idea how to read the Bible. Okay, they just read it just to read it. They're not reading it to say, okay, in this verse, who is speaking to whom? Is the character speaking to the passage speaking to the reader, or is it telling a story about some characters, right? That doesn't relate to me in this time. And as a matter of fact, ain't nothing in the Bible is related to anything in this timeline, right? So they don't know how to read the Bible. They don't know about which Bible sources come from who or what. Right? There's no understanding of how this book was put together. There's no knowledge of the original sources. Okay? They'll tell you John this and John, but who's John? A disciple of Jesus. Really? Because there are people who think that, you know, the Revelation written by John, they think it's the same John that came before Jesus. Okay? Right? They, again, you know, it's, you know, I mean, what can I say? Sometimes I'm just like shaking my head like, man, these, you know, but again, I don't blame them. I can't blame them. All right? No matter how ignorant they sound, I can't blame them, because I was once part of it. Part of that indoctrinated nonsense. Part of the lies. Okay? So I am being, Facebook removed my content because, again, this is the Blue Letter Bible. This is, you know, this is where you go to study, to research. Right? This is Christian. Right? This is what this is. Right? But because these are Christian people who want to know the truth, who want to have a better understanding of the Bible, to have at least a better interpretation, but they don't want you to have a better interpretation. They want you to have the interpretation that they gave you, that they want you to have. So you don't ask questions. When they tell you, you know, that's God where you don't ask questions. And I say, well, you know, there were Adam and Eve. They had two sons, Cain and Abel. Right? Cain killed Abel. Yet God is asking, where is Abel? But if God is all-knowing and all-powerful, why is he asking Cain where his brother is? God knows everything, right? Okay? Right? And then Cain gets God, you know, told he has to go. And Cain says, I will go, and hopefully somebody will you know, do something to me. And God said, no one will do anything to you, because I will put a curse on them. Well, who else is there? Right? I thought there was nobody else. It was just Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. Right? Then they'll tell you, well, you know, they had other kids. Yeah, but at that point, the scripture that you're reading is only Adam and Eve and Cain. Right? Their other children wasn't born yet. But yet, Cain goes to the land of Noah and he finds a wife. Do you see something? Do you see what's wrong here? But Christian will tell you, oh, they had other people there because, you know, Adam had a first wife. I'm like, oh, all of a sudden you're bringing in Adam's first wife? Really? Where did you get that information from? But they say these things because of their cognitive dissonance, right? Because they cannot deal with the truth and the reality. They cannot think, because then it questions their belief, right? And it questions, and if they have questions, then guess what? Their soul might burn in hell, right? Because they're conditioned with fear. Fear is a tool that is greatly used in order to condition people. When people go through trauma, a traumatic experience, they become fearful, and that fear will affect them for the rest of their life unless they get help to deal with that fear and to put things into proper context and proper perspective. And Bible thumpers, right? The Bible thumpers do not have the proper perspective and cannot put things into proper context because of the fear that they've been indoctrinated with. All right. So again, I just wanted to show this, and I almost forgot about this too. I should tell you, because being targeted so much, it affects your memory, and I've said this before. You guys should know this already. Though when they're lessen the attack, your memory do improve, but then again, I also take supplements to help improve memory. So imagine if I wasn't taking these supplements, my memory, and again, I've experienced it, would have been far worse. Okay. So again, they don't want me to give the Bible thumpers any sort of resources so that they can go and do the research themselves. So this is why they will do something like this, where they remove my content. All right. And yes, I'm trying to get shares. I don't care about the likes or followers. All right. And it's not misleading. All right. So how would they figure that this is misleading? All right. So for certain people, they have an algorithm that would flag certain things, right? Particularly things that are truthful. Because I tell you what, I had clicked on a post earlier, and it was spam. All right, so you're telling me that your algorithm cannot detect spam, but it can detect me posting something. It's from the blue letter Bible.org as being spam. Okay, and come to think of it, after I flag that post as spam, because when I click on the link, it opened up another tab, and it says something about computer virus infected, some shit like that, right? And because I flagged it, they're retaliating and flagging this. These people, I swear. Anyhow, I will talk to you guys on the next Target Individual program, Target Individual Experience.